So today what I'm going to show you is we're going to continue along with 2.3, but today what we're going to do is we're going to find a focus, a directrix, and the axis of symmetry if we're given an equation of a parabola. Now if you notice what we've been doing throughout, most of our equations that we did previously for homework and what have you are in this form right here. So if you look at this form right here, this guy right here, it's y equals 1 over 4p times x squared. Now what the p represents is the y value of the focus. And then if you want to find the directrix, it's y equals negative p. Now this only applies, this equation and all this stuff right here only applies when the vertex is at the origin. So if the graph opens up or if it opens down and the vertex is at 0, 0, then we can use this bit of information right here. Now this is something that we have to memorize because this will help us to actually find the different things that we're looking for. Now if we figure out if it's a horizontal axis of symmetry, then, so horizontal, because the axis of symmetry, right, would be this line right here, and then this line right here. So if that is the case, then we use this equation where x equals 1/4 times p y squared. Now this switches. Do you notice it switches from here, from what we had previously up here? The p is now in the front and it is now p0. And the directrix is x equals negative p. So it's a little bit different. This is just these things right here are something that we have to make sure that we get in our heads, make sure we remember it, and I'm going to show you the next step on what we do with those. So basically what I did is I took an example right from the book, and this is on page, I'm not sure what page it's on. It's on page 72, number 13. So I just copied this and put it right in from the Big Ideas book. So it says that we want to identify the focus, the directrix, and the axis of symmetry of the parabola. So what we have to do first is we have to put it in that form. Well, we first have to think, okay, what form would this be in? Now, what does that equation look like? Does it look like this one right here or this one right here? Well, looking at it, it's in the y equals, and you have an x squared. So that means it's going to be a vertical axis of symmetry. So basically, we're going to use all the knowledge of this top one up here. Alright, so what we want to do is I just want to rewrite this down here, and I have y equals 1/8 x squared. But I want it to be in the form of y equals 1/4 times p x squared. So all you have to do is take this guy right here and take this guy right here, and we want to set them equal to each other. So 1/8 equals 1/4p. Because I want to figure out what would take this, how could I go from this and make it equal to 1/8? So basically, whatever I multiply that 4 by will get you your value. Now, the best way to do it, I think, this one's probably easy. You probably do it in your head once you see it, but what I'll do is just cross multiply. So you get 4p equals 8, and you divide by 4, and you should have p equals 2. So our p value is 2. So if you notice, if I took this p right here and plugged it back in up here, you would get your 1/8. So I know that the p has to be 2. Well, what was the reason for finding that p? Well, the reason to find that p was to find the focus. Well, I know the focus is basically just 0p. Well, do I know what the p is now? Yeah. So 0, 2 would be my focus. So what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and find my directrix. Well, my directrix, if you remember what we looked at previously, up on the right there, the directrix is y equals negative p. So what that means is my y equals negative 2. All I did was take this value of p, plugged it in here. So now I have the two things that I'm looking for. I have my focus, my directrix, and then I want to find my axis of symmetry. Well, if it is a vertical equation, we know that our vertical line would be x equals 0. So this would be the focus, this would be my directrix, and this would be my axis of symmetry. Because think of what that looks like. If you were to graph that, I'm just going to quickly draw it here. Where would we know that any graph that opens up or down, say if it looks something like this, well, where is my axis of symmetry? Yeah, it's right down the middle. It's right here. So that right there is your axis of symmetry. And that equation to that is x equals 0. So hopefully this is not too complicated for you, but please, if you have any questions for me, please ask. Come up with a confusion question, come up with a HOT question, or come up with your own example. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next class.